Hello, we're live.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes. I'm Sam, by the way.
And I am Erica. And we have our YouTube channel, Breathe English, which you probably know since you're watching this.
Probably.
And yeah, today we're talking about American high school. Since we live in Spain, sometimes we get questions from people because there's a lot of movies that feature American high schools. So people want to know if it's true what they see in the movies.
Yeah, a lot of curiosity. And there are, I think even within the US, there's a lot of fascination and fixation on high school as like very formative years. They're really important years when you're growing up, and there are these rituals and traditions that you do. So I think it's sort of it's a big topic, and for people out in the international community, they see it so much, they're like, is it really like that? So kind of funny.
So let us know while you're watching in the comments any questions you have, or if you've seen things in the movies that you want to ask us if it is true.
Yeah. Or like, what do you think of when you think of American high school? Like, what is the first image or thought that pops into your head? Or your like favorite American high school movie?
Yes.
That's another big topic. Anyways, hello, Gabby has joined us.
Hi, Gabby.
Hi. Tell us where you're from, where you're joining us from today. Jose says hello.
Hi, Jose.
Hi, Jose. Okay.
Next one? Or you want to give it some
Yeah.
time?
Well, I think people will start joining.
Ooh.
Filtering through. So when I think of a high school movie, I think of this high school, like beautiful, symmetrical. It just looks like
a big lawn in the front.
Yeah.
People hang out.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like my image of like, ooh, this is like the perfect high school. My high school looked nothing like this.
Really?
Did yours look like this?
No. It was it was like a bunch of different sections. I don't know. It was more modern looking.
Yeah.
How about yours?
Mine was from the 70s, like poured cement, just kind of ugly. Yeah. It was really ugly. And so I have like this, but I have this is like the perfect high school in my mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, that high school is the best of times. And some people say it's the worst of times. So
Absolutely.
My question for you, Erica, how was high school for you? How does it compare to the rest of your life so far?
Oof. For me, it was not the best of times. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of my high school time avoiding high school. Mm-hmm. I was an exchange student in Norway my whole junior year. And then when I came back for my senior year, I took most of my classes at the local community college. So we had this program you could earn college credit. And then I saunter back into high school for like English and like a cooking class. Like, it's chill.
Yeah.
I did not love it. I really loved college, but I was like in a very awkward stage of my life in high school.
Yeah. Do you think that's like, why do you think you felt that way? Because of just how you were adjusting to your peers or yourself, or what do you?
Yeah, like the first several years, like my peers, I was just so annoyed by everyone at high school. Like I just felt like everyone was really immature and just annoyed me. I don't know. I was probably just cranky. And then by senior year, like I feel like people had chilled out, and like I enjoyed people more my last year of high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think I felt the same way. I felt kind of, you feel annoyed, but also you are annoying,
Yeah.
like it's very hypocritical. But I think it's fair to say 14 and 15-year-olds are, going through a lot, learning a lot, and can be a little annoying, a little over the top, a little too dramatic about things, or too loud, lots of screaming. Oof. Yeah.
But as My favorite piano teacher said, if your peak is in high school, that's maybe not the best sign for your life.
Sure. It's very early to have your peak, the highest point of your life.
If it's downhill from high school, you're doing something wrong, probably.
Yeah, it's harsh. So let us know what you think about when you hear American high school, or when you picture what American high school is like. And Gabby says, yes, it's always the same architecture. Yeah, there's this classic kind of school architecture.
Like the Hollywood high school architecture.
Hollywood idea of high school. Exactly. Okay, so the first big stereotype is obviously the cheerleaders and the football games and all this sort of rah high school pride feeling.
Yep.
So we see this here. We have two pictures from the movie Bring It On, which is a classic movie about cheerleading duels in high school.
So dramatic. But like, I don't know. I think high school can be that dramatic. Like, at least my high school was dramatic. It's just like, but we had like the dance team, because you have cheerleaders, you have the dance teams. We had like a hip hop dance team, which was like the Black and Latina girls, and then like some guys made a guy dance team, and they called it the meat. And
no.
And the administrators did not like that, because they were making a point that they were like dancing sexily at the pep rallies, and like for some reason it wasn't okay when boys did that.
Wow.
Yeah, there could have been some movies about my high school.
That sounds like it's from a movie.
Yeah,
that sounds like it's from Mean Girls.
It was great.
That's incredible.
Did you have any cheerleader friends?
Not close friends. I didn't have. Yeah, my close friends were from a different. Were involved in different activities. But I think when I think of American high school cheerleaders in movies, they are like, they have the perfect life, like they have a really fantastic family life and a fantastic boyfriend, and they drive a hot car, and they're just like super athletes and like really good dancers. And I think that is a little bit of a fantasy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the reality was that these girls were like so incredibly like a cheerleader is just a normal girl. Like, she likes to cheer and she likes dance and she likes, she likes to participate, but she's probably not, Gabrielle Union. Like, anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some out there, but.
Yes, I'm sure. But I think we have this image of like the cheerleader as this untouchable, sort of perfect creature. And I think the reality is that they were just normal students.
Yeah. I mean, there's cliques. My grandma was a cheerleader.
Really?
And prom queen.
Oh, wow.
So maybe she was that idealized. Yeah. That did not get passed on to me. Yeah. All right. Anything else with...
No, I think we can move on to football games. So football games are, I think, in the movies, like the epicenter of, like, they are the center of high school life.
Right. I would go to football games more in middle school. It was like the cool thing. Like on a Friday night, you go, and like we didn't even watch the game. We just like, we're all middle schooly, like socializing and talking about who liked who and eating candy from the concessions. It was just all about socializing.
Yeah. But I think football players are definitely like glorified in movies. And I think everyone like associates American football a lot with high school.
Yeah.
And finally, the pep rallies. So a pep rally is, I think if you want to go to the next slide. A pep rally is when it happens before the high school game, and when everyone comes into the gymnasium during school, I think usually, and they try to get everyone excited for the game, because you want to have lots of school spirit and school pride, and so they have like dances and there's like loud music and they try to get you to cheer a lot. Yeah. And so you're trying to like feel this sort of almost patriotic pride for your high school, and it's like very overwhelming.
There was this girl at my high school. She would have like mohawks and just very punk, and she would refuse to go. I mean, there was a few kids who refused to go to the pep rallies, and I remember she called it like a fascist event. And I was like, well, I mean, it's weird that they take time out of your class.
Yeah.
Like you're learning to like go. I mean, I always enjoyed the band. I thought the band and like the drum line, like they were just so good at my high school. But like, I don't know. It depended what class you were skipping.
Right. Like I was like, oh, we don't have to be in class. Cool. Like, let's go. But you know, I never had that much school pride, I suppose. Welcome, Mudassar from Pakistan. Excellent. So here's the reality. So let's talk about the reality really quickly. You know, we have in the movies, you see like people, the actors who portray high school students are usually in their early 20s. They're more developed. They're extremely attractive. And I just don't think that's fair because not many people are at their most attractive when they're in high school. And I think that can be said for both of us. If you look at the next slide, so the reality of the situation, I was not obsessed with American football. I played volleyball, and so I was more excited about my own volleyball games than going to the football games.
Ooh, were you on varsity volleyball?
My junior year, I was on varsity,
nice.
Which was fun.
Yeah, I bet you were good, especially because you're tall.
That was okay. That was fine.
This picture, I think I was not in high school. I was like in 5th or 6th grade, but this was my only cheerleading. My friends were doing it. We did it together. It was embarrassing. It was not my favorite thing. But there's our picture with the pom-poms. Those are called pom-poms. Yes. And you have two, and you always, I don't know.
Do you remember any of your cheers?
No. Oh yeah, there's one. Alligator, alligator, eat 'em up, eat 'em up. There's a bunch of stupid cheers.
That's good. That's really good. I bet your grandma was so proud.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yes. All right. So if you're just joining us, make sure you tell us what you think of when you think of high school in America. What is the image that comes into your mind?
Yes. Absolutely. All right, next stereotype, lockers. So, yeah, I always assumed that every school had lockers, but that is not true. So your locker, you get a locker, usually for the year, and you have a combo lock, and it's kind of, you can decorate it, you keep your books in there. I learned in Spain that the students more stay in one classroom and the teachers move from.
I think it depends on the high school.
Okay, the high schoolers I've talked to. So here it's like you have to move your body to different rooms depending on the class. So then you have to go to your locker, get different books, go to your next class, and what else? A lot of times in the movies, they push the nerd into the locker. Yeah.
Kind of sad.
What other things happen with
a person into the locker? I mean, it's just something that we didn't really think about. Like, of course we have lockers because why would we carry around all of our books all day? It's just like a really important place to like stick your books and stick your lunch. So in American high school, lunch is part of the day. So we eat lunch at school. And so many people, you could buy lunch from the cafeteria, but I would always bring my lunch from home. So I would have like my little lunch bag and I would keep it in my locker. Like that's just where that's where it went. So it's kind of weird to me to think about a school without lockers. Like, where would you put your stuff?
Right.
Just carried around with you. But yes, they are true. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
In high schools.
Now I'm thinking about, I can hear the sound of the lockers closing.
Yeah.
The true sounds of high school.
Yes. And the smells.
Oh, yeah. All right. Another stereotype, exchange students.
Exchange students. So if you don't know this movie, the pictures at the top are from a movie called 16 Candles. It's a classic, what's the director's name? John, I don't remember his name right now. But it's a classic from the 1980s about high schoolers, romance. It's very wholesome. It feels like very removed from current days. But there is an exchange student, I believe from China, and he is a total stereotype of, he is a total racial stereotype of Chinese people. But he's very fun and colorful. And I don't know, I think that like this idea of an exchange student, like someone coming to America for the first time in high school, is kind of like, how does that person react with American high schoolers?
Yeah, I remember we had a girl from Norway. She was like beautiful, and there's like this mystery, like they have an accent, and you're like, wow, they're from across the ocean. And then there's a guy from Germany who is also cool, and just, yeah, we didn't have a lot of them. Like, I don't know if it's more common in Europe to do exchanges in high school. I know it's very common for Germans to go, like, especially to the U.S. too.
We had at least 2 Germans. We had an Italian guy, and my friend actually was a host to a girl from Thailand. Okay. So yeah, it happens. So let's look at the reality of the. And in the movie, the exchange student finds his like American girl. So part of the reality is this is me at a dance with the Italian exchange student.
Oh, you went to the dance with him?
Yes. So that was somewhat of the stereotype becoming reality.
Oh, were you dating or just friends?
Briefly, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, very briefly.
And then the other pictures are some of my pictures from Norway. So my high school, they like sending me, like there was no other students in my class or that they had heard of like leaving my high school to go be an exchange student.
Oh, wow.
Like there was no process for that. Just me being crazy. But yeah, I lived in this tiny town in Norway. We had fjords in the backyard, mountains, waterfalls. It was beautiful, but I think my town had like 900 people.
Wow.
Sheep in the backyard.
That is small. That is very small.
And you can see the picture on the right. Those are 2 guys who went to my high school. They were such fun guys. And we were just on a hike, like in the backyard. You just climb up the mountain.
In Norway.
You have this view of the fjords. And then actually right down the street was Rocco Cifoni. He was an Italian exchange student. And so that was his host brother there, and then his host dad. I couldn't find pictures of my host family. Oh. They were a really cool family. And he was like, he was the complete opposite of Norwegian culture. Like this loud Italian who smoked and like had like fashionable clothing. Yeah, it was funny to watch.
An Italian in Norway.
Yeah, but he did great. He got really good at Norwegian, and yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so we have exchange students, and we have cliques and labels. So what do we mean when we say clique?
A clique is like you have kind of a theme. So maybe you're the cheerleader clique, and so it's like a closed group of people that you're only friends with each other, and you're not like open and inviting for others to join your clique.
Yeah, a closed social group. Mm-hmm. And then a label, when we talk about labels, especially in high school, I think as people are finding their identities and also just finding out what they like and what they don't like, and becoming more independent from their parents. People start to gravitate towards different things. So depending on what you like and what you do, sometimes you got labeled a certain thing. So we're going to take a look at some of those labels that people would put on you and the social cliques. So if you can see in this picture, these are groups from Mean Girls, the movie, which is a very funny movie. But like one of the labels there is burnouts in the middle. And a burnout is somebody who smokes a lot of weed, right? Yep. So indulges in marijuana and gives the impression that they're burnt out, like they're not going to go anywhere in their life. Like they're kind of just like they smoke and that is their whole identity. And that's obvious, like that's a label that gets put on them just because they smoke weed.
Yeah, we had a burnout clique at my high school.
It was a clique.
They'd wear, I mean, I don't know if it was a clique, but they'd wear like Grateful Dead clothes. You know, like they were like pretend they were in the 60s or something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the first clique is the in crowd, also known as the popular girls, the cool kids, whatever. The in crowd, I mean, being in is like being cool.
Being cool. And this crowd is always featured in movies, I believe, because they bring the drama. They're like the ones on top, the ones people aspire to be, or they're kind of like the leaders. Usually they're not very nice, at least in the movies. Mm-hmm. I mean, example here, Mean Girls. And it is the cliquiest of cliques. I mean, you have to I don't know how one
you have to be cool. Yeah. I think you just have to fit the sort of whatever the socially acceptable like definition of cool is at the time. And it's sort of it changes over time, like but and
then they can kind of decide, like, if they decide to associate with you, like, you, therefore, are, like, kind of get their coolness. Like, you get, like, level up in, like...
Yes. If they choose you, then you are more cool, which is a strange concept. But I think this is definitely just a stereotype as far as being mean and being, like, non-welcoming. I think, at least at my high school, the in crowd definitely had that cool element, but they were nice people. So
yeah. I mean, maybe you weren't invited to their parties and
no,
stuff,
I was not. No.
So even if you weren't in, they weren't like doing like bullying necessarily.
Yeah, not bullies, just their own friend group. Like it's just a group of friends, which is absolutely allowed.
Yeah. All right. Jocks and band kids. Okay. So jock is a word meaning an athlete, but it's kind of derogatory. Like it's an athlete who maybe they're not that great at school. Sometimes we call them meatheads.
Ooh, that's derogatory.
Meathead is very derogatory. Yeah. So jock could be positive, it could be negative, depending on the context. But just someone who's really into sports. And then band kids play in the marching band. Usually, I don't know that any of the cool kids were also band kids.
I don't think so. I associate them because they're both related to football. Mm-hmm. They're like the two sides of football, right?
Yeah.
So the jocks are like, you know, these sort of elevated, like they must be cool in the movies. They must be amazing because they're athletes, and they have so much going on for them. And then the band kids kind of have this association from American Pie, at least, of being like kind of weird, very sexually active. It's sort of like its own very defined clique because they spent so much time together, you know, practicing music. So I just think it's like a fun juxtaposition of two social groups.
Yeah.
But
jokes about band camp.
Yeah.
What happens at band camp.
This one time at band camp.
But I think they work really hard, at least in my experience. Like, they have practice like basically every day, like early in the morning they're practicing, and really they're amazing when I see them at the games. They usually play during the halftime and during the game, and they have these formations, and it must be so much work.
Yeah, I mean, I think that can be said of both groups.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Both the football players and the musicians.
Yep.
The band musicians.
Very dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, freaks, geeks, and weirdos. Love this. This was a great show called Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks, so good.
Is this on? I forget what it streams on, but if you're looking for an English language TV show, this is a great one from the early 90s, I believe.
Yeah. With some really famous people.
Yeah.
When they were like adolescents still.
Yeah, and it shows all the drama, the cliques of high school, but again, kind of in a more innocent era.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think all of these labels, so freaks, geeks, and weirdos, refer to people a little bit on the fringe. They're definitely not in the popular crowd. They're probably a little bit even outside of the, like the normal group of people that you wouldn't label. Like they're weird enough, like they have something about them that you label them. And maybe they're kind of childish, or maybe they are into a sort of like, well, we'll get into like nerds, different types of nerds, but just kind of like, I don't know, like they're just different. And I think that doesn't mean that they're not, that probably means they were more interesting because, for example, if you have somebody who's really interested in like orchestra or something, they're going to be more of an interesting person than somebody who like doesn't dedicate their time to anything in particular. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these people are not cool. Basically.
All right, we've got math nerds.
Okay, so now we're getting into nerds. All the not all the flavors, but some flavors.
Some flavors of nerds.
And a nerd is different from a geek or a freak. A nerd is someone who really is interested in a field, either a class or an activity or something. Like nerding out, you probably heard of. Being nerdy about something means you are really interested and you know a lot.
Yeah, so chess team, math team, I'm sure computer science clubs are a thing now, so all of that. And I think with, especially with like how technology plays a role in our lives, I think nerds can be cool. Like they've become cooler over time.
Definitely.
Because they know how to do cool stuff. So
well, I just think like having a strong interest is now acceptable.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, I think maybe we thought of it earlier as not being cool to be really passionate about something, but now I think being a nerd about something is absolutely great. So yeah, in high school you have math nerds, you have drama nerds.
Was that
me?
you?
I was a drama nerd.
Yes.
Drama nerds are characterized by being very loud, singing a lot of Broadway musicals, being sort of like showy, and very silly.
Unashamed. Also sexually active was my...
Maybe other drama nerds were. It's possible. And you were in drama too. You did some theater.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and it's usually in high school, like there's so many more girls doing it than guys. So I think the guys who are in it, like they're either gay or they're like very sexually active.
So smart.
Yeah,
honestly,
they're getting action.
It's the best thing you can do as a young man.
Yeah, you're like changing in front of girls. You're like, it's very intimate. It's very fun.
Theater's so fun. But anyways, drama nerds, being really into drama or theater. And I think there's one more nerd. Oh, there's
You didn't have
Erica.
a picture of you?
I didn't get a picture of me. I missed the boat on that one.
There I am in high school. This was, what is it? The Princess and the Pea?
Once Upon a Mattress.
Once Upon a Mattress.
I was in the same musical in high school.
Yeah.
So
Great musical.
yeah, very funny.
Embarrassing. Okay. Good times. All right. D&D nerds.
D&D nerds.
So Dungeons and Dragons. Here we have some images from Stranger Things, which is a hit on Netflix. So this shows definitely the lead characters are nerds, and specifically D&D nerds, so Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I've never played. You've played.
I am currently a D&D nerd. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons during the pandemic with some of my college friends. So at 32 years old, I became a D&D nerd, and I never understood it before, and now I get it. I think I kind of love the characterization of the D&D nerds in Stranger Things, because the town sort of views them as like truly freaky, like Satan worshippers, like devil children, and that's just like, so that if that perspective was real, it has changed so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we definitely had the D&D nerds at my school. Like, they would always play during lunch, and it was like they had their table. It was all really awkward boys.
Yeah.
And no one understood. They knew they were playing D&D, and like they were weirdos.
Yeah. And Magic the Gathering. Yeah, Magic cards. So yeah, just other flavors of nerds, which thank goodness being a nerd has become more socially acceptable.
Yeah. Oh, teenage driving. So this is something I think most Europeans are a little shocked by, that we get our driver's license at 16. We pass the test.
We started driving at 15.
Yeah.
With your permit. 15
or in
years
Iowa,
old.
14.
Oh my god.
So I remember it was like such a thing in high school, like when someone had their 16th birthday and they scheduled their driving test, and then you're like waiting to hear at school, like, did they pass? No, they failed. Or, oh, they passed. Or, oh, they failed for the 5th time. But then, yeah, thinking back to being 16, like being behind a motorized vehicle, like it's terrifying.
It is. But I don't think we think about it that much. It seems, because we drive in the US, you drive everywhere. It's constant. So being able to drive was just sort of a next logical step. Mm-hmm. So talking about the reality of this, Erica, did you get into an accident as a teenager?
Yeah, well, first I have let's talk about this open road. So this is a picture of Nebraska. So when we have our driver's permit, we have to have so many hours behind the wheel with our parents. And so during Christmas, we would drive from Minnesota to Colorado, which is like 13 hours. And Nebraska is the most boring, flat state. And the road looks like this for like 9 hours. And my dad would make me drive most of Nebraska as practice. And I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm practicing.
Very
here.
useful.
Like, I'm practicing not falling asleep. So that's like a joke in my family, that when you had your permit, you had to drive Nebraska. And then, this is not the actual car, but this is what my parents' car looked like. So I was a little bit older for my grade, so I was the first of my friends to get my license because I had a summer birthday. And so I was newly licensed, and I was like, okay, I'm going to drive us all to get ice cream. And my friend's driveway went like this a little bit, and then there was a fire hydrant. And so I just pulled straight back, because we're like talking, we're being teenagers, like talking, laughing. Yes. I wasn't thinking like, okay, I kind of need to veer this way. And then I just heard a crunch. I was like, oh, yeah. No. And it was my dad's like new car.
This is so funny, because I have a very similar story.
Really?
Yes. My parents had a pretty new car, and I was actually 18. I was not newly licensed, so I was still 18 or maybe 17. I was going to a friend's graduation. Oh, maybe I was a sophomore. I think I was 17. Anyways, and I was deciding whether to go straight to the party or turn on my parents' street, on my street, to like get a gas card to go to fill up the gas tank because it was kind of low. And I was like trying to decide, do I go straight or do I turn? Do I go straight or do I turn? And I ended up like kind of doing both. And I just like veered into a rock that was on our neighbor's corner. Oh, no. I drove into a rock.
Like not even going fast.
No,
like...
I was going really slow, but I drove into the rock and my parents' friends never let me live it down.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I bet that rock really jumped out at you, Sam.
Oh, and yeah, I still get made fun of. Like, my brother and my dad, yeah, they make jokes about fire hydrants frequently. So, yeah.
Yeah. It is a reality. Teenage drivers, it's dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
It's dangerous stuff.
Yeah. Get that insurance, parents.
Yeah.
Ooh, fake ID.
Yeah.
All right. This image is from Superbad. It just makes me laugh. Yeah, so we can't drink until we're 21 in basically all states. So getting fake IDs is a thing, or using like a sibling, an older sibling's ID, so you can buy alcohol.
Right, because in the U.S. they're very strict about making sure you have proper identification to buy alcohol. Not so strict about buying a gun, but buying alcohol, very regulated. I even, like, sometimes when I buy alcohol at home, they will ask me for my ID to prove that I am over 21. So
it's like, can you see?
Can you not see that I'm over 21? So, right. So getting alcohol is like the holy grail, right? It's really important for some reason for teenagers in order to have a good time. And it's just like so cool if you can buy alcohol. And so what people do is they pay people to make fake IDs that says they are over 21. That is the fake ID.
Did you have a fake ID?
Oh, absolutely not. I was too much of a goody two-shoes. But did you?
No, but I definitely had older coworkers buy alcohol.
Yeah.
For more in college a few times.
Right. Because that's the thing. We can't buy alcohol until our third year of college. So supposedly we're not drinking the first 2 years of university.
Yeah, and it's always the argument like, okay, we can buy a gun, we can vote, we can join the military, all at 18, but then we can't drink for 3 more years. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. But yes, having a fake ID was definitely very common. And if you got caught with a fake ID, you were in big trouble. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, school dances. Here we've got Grease, classic movie about high school. This is probably how my grandma's high school was. Like, in the 50s. She always talks about how great the 50s were, and I'm like, okay, sure.
Wow.
But with all these traditions, they go way back, and school dances is one of them. So the big ones are homecoming, which is in the fall, usually September, so like the month school starts. And then prom is in the spring, and that's for the 2 oldest grades, unless you're asked by an older student to go. And then usually there's like a winter dance, like some kind of themed dance.
Yeah. So we get all dressed up and we go and we dance. And that's what we do. That's a perfectly normal high school occasion.
And it's like people can spend a lot of money on their, I think we're going to talk about the dresses, but just all of it, limos. Yeah. I think I went once, we did a limo.
Oh, really?
Wait, did we? I think so, yeah. Wow.
A limousine just to take you to the dance. Or maybe to dinner
so
first.
Extra, yeah.
Yeah.
Dinner, dance.
Yeah. So normally, like, the way a dance night goes is you go out to dinner. So you never just go straight to the dance.
Well, first you go to someone's house and take pictures.
Okay,
right?
yes. Okay. So you're getting ready, right? You're getting pretty. You go to somebody's house, you take pictures being pretty. with your dance partner.
The parents are there, like, oh, yes.
And then somebody drives you. If you're a limo, if you're Erica, or
I was the driver once too.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you drive and you go to dinner, which is actually fun. So you go with usually several couples. It's not usually you go 2 people. Like that would be if you're maybe in a committed high school relationship, right? I think most people would go in groups.
It's like a friend group, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of a friend affair. And then from dinner, then you go to the dance, which usually started around 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock, you're at the dance. It lasts for about 3 hours.
Yeah, and then you have like teacher chaperones being like, stop grinding. So grinding was like this dance where like you're rubbing up on people, and like, at least in my era, it was like the teachers are kind of like trying to stop this from happening, but
yeah,
it's all we knew how to do anyway.
Yeah, nobody knows how to dance. That's the true irony of the high school dances. Exactly. So you have high school, like you have the chaperones who are trying to like keep everyone in check. And then after the dance, so our dances would end at midnight. Then if you were really cool, then you had like an after party to go to. So usually, because everything closes in the US really early, and we weren't allowed in bars because we were 18 at the oldest, we would go to somebody's house and hang out and
House party.
yeah, keep drink or play games or whatever it is that your clique got into. And here's some photo evidence.
Yes.
Here's some photo evidence of the dances.
A closer look at this.
Yeah.
Look at those dates.
Yeah. So I was never romantically tied to any of these boys, but I went to a couple dances. I think we have homecoming, prom, and this is Tolo, which was actually put on by the drama club. This was like a early spring dance. Yes. So as you can see.
So is it always the guys asking the girls to the dances?
No, the one exception was Sadie Hawkins. Did you have Sadie Hawkins?
We had, it wasn't called that, but it was like the winter dance, and then it was reversed. So the girls asked the guys, and yeah, it was always a thing. Like there's so much anxiety, like who to ask, and like the timing, and like who already had a date.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna get to that next, right? Or maybe the dress is next. Oh, okay, the prom king and queen.
Ooh, prom king. Okay, so this is from the movie Carrie. I haven't seen it, but this image is, yeah. A lot of people know of the part where I think it's pig's blood is dropped on her. But yeah, prom queen is like the queen bee of the high school. I think in some places they are not doing it anymore because it just creates drama.
Yeah, because it's like people voting for you, and I think it would be easy as a high schooler to feel terrible about yourself if you didn't win.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, nobody likes me.
Yeah.
Which is not true. So yeah, I think that's slowly being done away with.
Right. Okay, the dress.
And the dress.
So here we've got the movie Never Been Kissed. Fabulous dress from the 80s with big sleeves. So dresses, I mean, the style has changed through the years. But it's kind of like, I think of it kind of like a quinceañera, like it's kind of this like coming of age tradition. So like, because people don't get married till much later, I think in some ways the dance and the dress and prom can kind of like fill that role as like the coming of age, like at least for girls. And so like you get, I mean, I don't know how much people spend on them these days, but it's like a thing to get your dress for your dance.
Yeah. I think it feels really special to like have that attention and like get to be unforgivingly, unabashedly like pretty. Just like try to be as pretty as you can.
Glamorous.
Glamorous, right. And like you get to, it's just you get to treat yourself, which obviously not everyone is into. I was into it, and I also sort of like I loved theater, so I loved dressing up anyways. But yeah, it is I think girls are much more into the dressing up and getting the perfect dress and feeling that way than the boys are. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, dresses are just usually more fun than like the guys. They need a suit, and I mean, some of them get creative with it.
Yes, some guys do a great job and have fun with how they look to go to a dance.
Yeah.
That's true.
But most of them, at least my brothers, it was just anxiety. Like my mom just basically had to dress them. Yeah. They had no idea.
Yeah. So here's the stereotype and the reality.
Oh, that's pretty.
So if you notice, this is the same dress that I wore to prom when I was 16, and here I am. I think I'm like 30 something.
Oh, wow.
So I kept the dress.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we spent like $80 on it at Macy's in the day, and I still got it. So,
kind of like a flamenco dancer there. It's the colors.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm hanging on to this thing.
Nice.
We are not getting rid of it. And that's my dress reality.
Awesome.
I still have all my prom dresses, actually.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just because.
Okay, so asking people to a dance it can be a fun thing.
It's honestly, it's so important. It is.
So some people do just ask like face to face, but other people just may do like a theatrical something. And we have a picture here of 10 things I hate about you. I don't remember if he's actually asking her to the dance in this.
I don't think in this
shot.
I don't think he does in this scene. Maybe
But
he does. He's
an
singing
example,
and
yeah.
dancing.
So, people do things in pep rallies or just to get a lot of attention. Just to ask someone to a dance.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Were you ever asked in a creative way, or did you ask someone in a creative way?
I can't remember. I don't think so. But, yeah. If I was, I blocked it out.
Wow, Erica.
So probably not.
Wow. I think you would remember. I was asked to homecoming my senior year by my friend Alan, and he had different friends bring balloons to me and my different classes. I think or maybe it was just tied up with each balloon was like a little bit of like a rhyme or a riddle or a poem. So it all sort of like added up. Yeah. And then he brought me the last balloon. So I went around like accumulating balloons all day. Yeah.
Did you know it was
cute.
Happening? Or?
I did.
Okay.
I suspected it was him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. We had a great time. Yeah. So that is important. High school reunions.
And then high school reunions. So that is usually 10, 15 years after high school or more. They have like a reunion. So a party where people from your class, so whatever year you graduated, you can get together. And is it just kind of like a dance again, or like a banquet?
I think I don't know.
I've never went.
Been. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's some sort of event or talk or something, right? There has to be some sort of structure.
Yeah, I imagine it's like
it's around.
dinner.
It's based around homecoming, isn't it? Like homecoming.
Okay, yeah.
Because the idea is that you're coming home, and your home is the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this picture is from the movie Rami Michelle's high school reunion, and apparently it's their reunion's a big deal. High school reunions are they happen a lot in TV shows too.
Yeah, I think because they can be easily dramatic. Like you're always comparing yourself to your peers and how far you've gotten in life or how far you haven't gotten.
I think that's the whole point, is like
showing off,
seeing where people are, right? Like showing off if you're doing well or if you think you're doing well.
Yeah. And now we have Facebook. So.
Yeah, we can just do that. Yeah. How would you feel going to a high school reunion today?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think it would be fun. Just like, I don't know, just to see people. I mean, sometimes I run into people from high school, like in my hometown, and like People are just so much chiller as adults. Like they're just like more pleasant to be around. So.
Yeah, I have the same thought. I think I would get along better now with people from high school than back then, and I would actually really enjoy it, and I think it could be really fun. But we live very far away from our high school, so
we do.
Probably not going to happen.
We do.
We have a question from Hadi. Thank you for the video. Is it true that there are police in American high schools now?
We had a police officer in my high school.
Did you?
Yeah. We had fights in my high school. I don't know that there were weapons. Maybe. We didn't have metal detectors, but there was a police officer who like had a little office and was like in the hallways. There was a lot of drama, especially during passing time. So that's when you're going from one class to the next and you have like 3 or 4 minutes to get there. And it's just like so crowded, at least my high school, and like all the cliques. And I think there were maybe some gang things. I didn't go to the fanciest high school. But yeah, sometimes things happened. I don't know that having a police officer is the best solution. It's my opinion.
Right.
'Cause I know sometimes it can just escalate things, but I think the one who worked at my high school was good.
Yeah.
But I think it's only gotten worse, honest, from what I hear.
Right. Well, I actually think this comment may have in mind the fact that there have been even more shootings recently. I am sure that some high schools do have, or in just schools in general have policemen. I think mine had a security guard. We definitely had a guard, somebody. I doubt he had a gun. I really doubt that he had a firearm. And schools are supposed to be gun-free zones. Like they have a picture, like it says, "Don't bring your gun here," which is like kind of crazy that they have to have that. I don't know. I think we would have to ask like current teachers teaching in schools if there are policemen on call.
Yeah, I think it depends on the school.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, definitely. But good question. Okay.
And last one, we've got yearbooks. You'll have to explain your picture. We have a picture. I think yearbooks come up in movies because it's like usually some mystery or detective thing where they like find them in the yearbook. This picture is from Catch Me If You Can, which I don't think I saw the whole thing,
okay.
but I think it's like a clue. Finds his yearbook picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have most of my yearbooks. And
I definitely do. I love looking at them. I love looking at my yearbooks. I think it's really fun. I love reading what people said to me, and I love reading because at the end of the year, okay, the real point of a yearbook. I know people work really hard on them all year long. They take all these pictures of the different clubs that are happening in the school, the different events. And everyone's school picture appears in the yearbook. But the real point of having a yearbook is so that people can write you notes in it and during the last week of school. So everyone's like so excited for summer, and there's just the last week, there's just this bonanza of writing. Yep. You write these notes, and like you may read a note from somebody that you have barely talked to in the whole year, and they're just like, "I think you're the best, sweetest person, and you just make school so fun," and it just like makes you so happy.
Yeah. And so my friends would just write weird things, and like I look at them now and it's still funny. And just like it brings me back to like where we were and like our friend groups and just it's a cool memory to have like a physical thing.
It is.
From that time.
It is. Yeah. And it's also like, you know, like look how many people signed my yearbook.
Yeah.
You know, like
ooh,
so many people
so popular.
knew me. Wow. And like if you wanted that special someone to sign your yearbook too, like what are they gonna write? Are they gonna put a heart in it? Like that was pretty exciting. So one thing that people wrote a lot in yearbooks is this: HAGS, hags. What do you think it means?
Acronym.
It is an acronym. It means have a great summer. So I don't know why this popped up, but this happened in your school too, right?
I don't remember this.
Oh,
no.
really?
No.
Oh my God.
They would write it out. Have a good.
Oh, we would write hags all over
Oh,
each
really?
other.
That's funny.
It's like hags, love you, bye. Yeah, that didn't make it to Minnesota.
Not that I remember.
Oh, okay.
It was a West Coast thing.
Maybe it was a West Coast thing.
But yeah, it was kind of it was also a thing like how much space someone took up. So it's like your really good friend would write like a longer note and take up more space.
Just like a whole
you only have so much
page.
space.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then other people would just sign their name or like hags apparently.
Yeah, hags. Hags, you're cool, bye. We have another question from Heidi. School culture seems fun to me. Do you want to live in the U.S. again in the future? Great question.
Great question.
What do you think, Erica?
I think so. I mean, there are pros and cons to everywhere you live.
Yeah.
But I think no matter where you're from, I think where you grew up, especially as a child, is always a very deep part of you. So it's always going to feel like home and like your most comfortable spot. And I have, all my family is there. So, yeah. How about you?
I love going back to the U.S., obviously, because there are these cultural things that like click with you that you can't find anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So even just like pop culture references or the fast food, the junk food that you eat, or just like hearing people's expressions or just like understanding someone like that, which doesn't always happen when you live somewhere else. So I really enjoy that. And I always think like, oh God, I am American. Like it's inescapable. Like
Why would you try to escape?
But I think, just the way my life has developed, like I don't have a need to move back anytime soon. I could see myself moving back to take care of my parents or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is like high school is, thinking about it now, it was such a like colorful time, and it was just like so full of important moments, so to speak. So it does, make you feel nostalgic, and I think Hadi is a little nostalgic for our high school experiences. Where are you from, Hadi? Tell us as well.
Yeah, I have a Spanish friend who she loves the U.S. and she loves, especially New York, but she's asked me once like, oh, do you really have prom? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, ah! She's like, do you really have cheerleaders? I was like, yeah. And she's just like, I love it. And she like, I think she really wants to like go back in time and go to American high school.
Yeah.
Like, that is her dream.
Yeah.
Which for me, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it, at the time, some of it's annoying, but you see that it's special and there's a lot of special traditions.
Yeah, I think every culture has its own special traditions. Yeah. I think my favorite part about high school was like I wasn't as high school averse as you were. Like I didn't like have this so much hatred for it. But my favorite part was just finding the people that I connected with most. And for me, that was the theater kids. And, I love those people. I felt really comfortable and had so much fun with them. But I think that's true of any sort of experience like that. That was the same in my college experience as well. So just finding the group of people that you connect with was
that is key.
The most important thing. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Well, I think we've done a fairly in-depth view of high school. We didn't really talk about the teachers, high school teachers.
Talk teachers or actual classes.
Classwork. You can tell.
That's not why you go.
It's not what we focused on. Well, we focused this live stream through the lens of movies. So what movies focus on is the fun stuff.
Yeah, and maybe we'll put a list of these movies in the description in case anyone wants to go on a high school movie binge.
Yeah, our favorite high school movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to talk about today.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us, either if you're joining now or if you're watching this later. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. And it's never too late to ask us questions. You can always leave a comment or write us a message. There's lots of ways to get in touch. So we look forward to hearing from you.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.